What up, Northwest Indiana?
Oh, that's a new one.
I know, right?
What up?
Why not? What up? I got to figure it out, man.
Right.
It's season 2.
Just good morning.
Season 2, episode 17. I'm still tinkering with the opening.
Well, that's good. Tinkering's a good thing.
Yeah.
We don't
what
want to
up?
I don't know if I like that.
Bienvenido.
Hey. We tried that one.
We tried that.
I didn't like that
What
one.
was the
Fat Albert opening?
What was the punchline? Not the punchline, but the go-to line from What's Happening. Remember that show in the 70s? What was that?
What you talking? No, that's
what you talking about, Willis?
Don't
that's
do that.
different. That's different strokes.
Different strokes. What is it? Hold on. I know
Willis.
this.
What's happening? Was that
because it's
guy
not Dynamite?
It was
that's
like
JJ.
the guy that dressed in like the
rerun.
suspenders. Rerun.
Rerun.
What was reruns? Go-to.
Come on, we got a lot of listeners.
Come on, you old people out there. Lindsay's like, what's happening?
I am completely lost right now.
I know
someone
in
will
chat.
say it.
Somebody in chat said,
Hey.
Hey.
No, that's Fat Albert.
Albert.
That's Bill Cosby, who's in jail right now.
Yeah.
Prison, I'm sorry.
He's
Wait,
saying,
no.
hey, right now.
Oh, well, someone will come. Someone will do it. What did rerun saying? What's happening?
God, that's so annoying. I could totally picture it.
What?
So hold it. He was wearing rainbow suspenders.
Rainbow suspenders back when it
Merkel?
was, you know.
No,
No,
Urkel?
rerun.
No, you're like
and he
a
had the
decade
beret.
That's the show?
beret.
It's called Rerun?
No, it's called
different strokes.
No, it's called What's Happening.
What's happening? Yeah,
with an
What's
exclamation point. And rerun was a character in it.
You think he was?
He had some moves, like some breakdancing moves.
Yeah. Was he gay? You think? I'm sure. Right?
I'm going no.
He's wearing rainbows back
Rerun
in the
was
day.
not. Rerun was not.
That
Rainbows
gay.
were a symbol back in the day.
I know, but I just think it was colorful.
Oh yeah. Well, Mork from Ork used to wear.
He wasn't gay. Well, who knows what happened on Ork?
Ork, you know,
Could be.
they could swing both ways on Ork.
We
You never
don't know.
You never know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, Dynamite's another one.
not
No idea what you
I
guys
think
are talking-
rerun was gay.
I think
Good
you're
times.
I'm on
having
the
like
record.
a collective delusion right now.
I think rerun was gay.
No way.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about?
Well, because
I don't know.
it's all happened when Tom said, "What's up?"
Oh yeah, because it involves a rainbow. It's got to be gay.
See, that's why we don't prepare very much for the show. We could just talk about stupid crap like that for like hours on end. I'm still
Exactly.
trying to figure out why people listen to us. So
we don't.
I
know.
appreciate you though,
Thank you,
and
all.
our sponsors and everybody.
All of them.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, man.
About what?
Going for the second shot tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah. I
That's
got lucky.
exciting.
I got lucky on the first one. I had it was a snowstorm, and I got called, and they were like, "If you could be here in 15 minutes."
Yeah, I heard some places are doing that. Like
This was early. I think people are catching on, but this was early, like early snowstorm a few weeks ago, obviously. And then once you get the first one, you're in for the second.
because I think if they don't want it to go to waste,
which they
is by the-
schedule you like hard for the second one. They're
Yep.
like, you have to be here at this time.
Moderna and Pfizer, you need 2 because those
Right.
can go. They can go bad. The Johnson Johnson, I don't think they can go bad.
Oh, yeah?
Just regular refrigeration.
Right.
Interesting, but we'll
I
talk
get
about
my
that.
second dose next week.
Nice.
I've heard that a lot of people are getting some of the symptoms after the second dose.
I
Like
know.
they're-
I mean, unofficially, I know a few people that got sick after the second shot.
kinda-
One of them I'm married to, Judge Marissa.
same
I always
with
call
me
her
and
Judge
Jan. I got
Marissa.
real tired.
I call her Judge Marissa at home, too. Hi,
do?
Judge Marissa. I'm home.
Morning, Judge.
Mayor Tom is home.
Your Honor.
I don't want to get sanctioned by the court.
Good idea.
I gotta be respectful.
You're probably constantly found in contempt.
I am constantly in my house. I'm constantly found.
It's
in
like
contempt.
a citation for contempt, just
Dude,
sticking
yeah.
on your closet
But
constantly.
yes, Marissa. Yeah, Marissa got sick after the second shot. She was sick for one night. My brother Aaron down for the count.
Wow.
For one night,
Wow.
and then
I
trying
think-
to think.
I
My
think
dad.
it's-
My dad said he was. Of course, I asked him, "Did you get sick after the second shot?" He's like, "I never get sick."
My dad
I'm
said
like,
the same. My
so
dad was the
annoying.
same way. He said, "I was fine. I just
But
sat there and had a cookie.
this is the thing.
And an orange juice, and nothing happened."
This is what Marissa's theory is. Marissa's theory is her immune system is so strong. That's why. I think that's the going line, and that's not just BS.
I think that's probably
so.
true.
Like Marissa's mom, hi Grandma Kelly, she's listening.
Mm-hmm.
Marissa's mom did not get sick, and Marissa's explanation for this is my immune system is much stronger than my
Than my
mom's
mom,
and,
who's
and,
older.
and your father's.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Good
and
point.
if you have a strong
And
immune
my mom.
system, according to my lovely, beautiful wife Marissa,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a strong immune system, you're going to get sick after the second
Oh.
shot. So now I'm all in my head because my second shot is.
Oh,
the
you
day-
think you have a strong immune system? So
Of
you're
course
ready.
I do. Look at me. I'm a picture
Healthy
of
as a
health.
horse.
That was a little
Yeah.
bit. Sorry,
Dude,
that was a
I'll
rhetorical
probably-
question because we knew where that was
I'll
going.
probably go down after the second shot because my system is
You're so strong. You're gonna be in the
Oh,
hospital.
Yeah, but like it's the day before my birthday. If I end up hospitalized,
What happened to Tom?
You guys are
Second
gonna have
shot,
a
man.
freaking riot with this one, huh? Yeah.
Tom, now that I think of it, I've known you a long time, and I don't ever remember you being down for the count with like the flu or the cold.
He's had some bad colds.
Yeah?
I get the flu.
Sure. Yeah, he's
like
had
I got the
flu.
flu a few years back. When it hits me, it knocks me
Yep.
down.
Wow.
Man.
Yep. He's been down a couple.
I did.
Times.
I had a really crazy delusional dream the last time I had the flu. I'll
Wow.
never forget it. I'm sleeping on the
interesting.
bed. This is crazy. You're gonna like this one, John. So I'm like passed out. I'm passed out on the bed, and I'm
You
delusional,
specifically.
like 102 fever, right? Sweating, the whole thing, right? And stupid me, I had like CNN playing in the background. So like my
That is-
dreams are like filled with Donald Trump, right? Because
Ouch.
that's all they're talking about in the background is, and I'm
Nightmares.
sleeping. So like I had this delusion. It was I remember it to this day, and I don't remember my dreams. I had a dream that I was Donald Trump's lawyer, and like we were negotiating with Mexico over something,
The
right?
wall, whether they were going to pay for the wall someday.
Something, and I was like kicking butt for him as
Yeah.
Donald Trump. And I remember he was like patting me on the shoulder, saying, "Good job, Mayor." Keep
Temporary.
going."
We know he
It's
turns
so
on
funny
everyone
though.
sooner
It's
or
so
later.
funny though. I remember that was my dream, as I represent Donald Trump, like negotiating with Mexico. I was
Wow.
his lawyer,
Well,
There you go.
and he liked me, John.
He could have used you.
The Orange Man liked me.
It's all temporary, right, John? Doesn't he turn on everyone eventually?
seems
You
to.
like Giuliani for a while, too.
He liked Pence too. He almost
He
killed
likes
him.
his kids, though. I don't see him turning on his kids.
But
I
he
love-
likes some of his kids.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
by the way, I
He
couldn't help.
really likes Ivanka.
Yeah, well, he doesn't like Tiffany. Like, nobody
yeah.
knew
He
Tiffany
does not like
existed
Tiffany.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if he
like
doesn't like
yesterday.
Tiffany.
He
He
likes
doesn't
it.
really talk about Tiffany much.
He
Let's put it
really
that
likes
way.
Ivanka.
Yeah, he does.
Ivanka's his favorite.
How about some...
That's creepy. I did my creepy ways.
Yeah, that was weird.
By the way, when I cut camera angles to you, Tom, I couldn't help but notice the stack of singles. Just to remind everybody, we
Hey,
have a
Lindsay-
swear
Dad's a
jar
stripper?
now.
Lindsay, you're down $9 for that
Yeah, what
swear
the hell?
jar.
Like, it's hard to take
I
this
don't
Can we
Serious
get that in
cash.
view? Where's the? Can we get that swear jar in
It's
view?
hard. It's hard to take it seriously. It's a Smucker's jar. I mean, I'm having trouble with that.
How
Smucker's
mean
jar.
can a Smucker's be?
Like
jar be?
seriously. Secondly,
It's
Lindsay-
light $9.
Lindsay's running $9 short.
That's
Yeah.
true.
which is B.
I don't carry
Yes.
cash on me.
I think she's basically saying, Dad, can you pay for me?
So like,
Dad,
I'll
throw
tell you
those
what.
That's
singles
what I'm
in
going to
there.
say. Tom,
Let's
can you
go.
pay for
So
my
no,
swear?
like I'm just gonna put this stack of singles away because we're not taking this seriously. Obviously,
I'm in.
are you?
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know.
with
I might
Tom.
ask you to
think
pay for
Lindsay's
me,
got
but-
I noticed in the last show she's trying to do some like income-based cussing. 'Cause, like obviously she's got the lowest pay in the studio. She's a student, so she thinks she
I
can
think
put
we
in,
all do.
She can put in pennies while
Yeah,
we
I
put
think
in dollars.
income-based definitely works.
You know what I suggest? I suggest working on your language there, honey.
There you go.
Oh.
That's income-based.
Calling the kettle black.
Well, that's fine.
Where do you think I learned this
I
from?
come prepared.
He's ready to pay. He's
come
ready to
prepared.
pay.
Oh, sorry.
See, watch this, Lindsay. Watch this.
I make a
Shit.
fraction of your money.
Oh,
Wow.
Right in
We
there.
agreed that
Those
the
don't
S
count.
word was $5.
No, we
No,
didn't. No,
no,
dollar.
no,
That's
see.
it. Don't say anymore. That's
That's
it.
right.
The
See,
swear
I
jar
just
is-
put in $1 for those
I
of you
like
that
that.
can't see it on video.
We'll put it on the whiteboard in the studio. $9. Lindsay's short.
And
All
by the
right.
way, Chad is involved in this because we're going to give all this money to a charity, I believe, right? At the
Yeah.
end of this.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth 7 figures eventually.
So,
If everybody pays up.
so type in now, like what you think the charity should be. I think someone said last week St. Jude.
Love
Yeah.
St. Jude.
I thought I
Yeah.
heard somebody say Haven House.
That's
So there's
my
a lot
stuff.
of choices.
Well, we got a lot of cussing to do before we can give any
I
significant
hope they'll
donation.
take it.
So.
If it's a Catholic charity, I wonder if they'll take it.
Right.
Mayor, we
That's a
appreciate
good
it.
idea.
But
Catholic charity.
Catholic charities is good.
St. John Bosco. It's a small little church
St. Jude's
in Hammond.
Catholic, isn't it?
Yes,
Or
it
it's
is. Well,
Christian?
yes.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, Lindsay, do your thing. So
Lindsay,
we
you
can,
just did a fundraiser for St. Jude, didn't you?
I did for my birthday.
Awesome. You
Made
raised what?
$930.
Nice.
Good job, man.
Whoa.
That's
Very
awesome.
nice.
I bet you they appreciated it.
It was awesome.
Did
They
you tell
kept
him-
messaging me,
Did you tell
telling
them
me
how
how
much
I
you
could
cuss?
like get more money. Donate. Huh?
Did you
Wow,
tell them
they're
how
all
much you
over it.
swear?
No.
No.
Because they had a robot messaging me. It was kind of strange. As soon as I set it up, they like
Man.
I got a bunch of like
that is
robo
interesting.
messages telling me like these are links you could post to get more attention.
Really?
And I'd bring
Wow.
people in. I was like,
That's
wow,
awesome.
They're efficient.
They're
No, St.
pros.
Jude knows what's up.
They know
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Hit
They
it.
rely completely on donations. So, you are listening to Left of Center, where we cover everything from politics to important events of the day in the Midwest and the nation, all while having way too much fun while doing it. If you can't get enough of us, follow us on Facebook at Left of Center Podcast or on Twitter at LOCPOD, LOCPOD. If you cannot listen in live, you can download our episodes from the Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio apps.
I love
This
it.
is getting way too long of a list.
That is.
Just search
And
Left
Tinder.
of Center and look for our red and blue
Bumble.
logo. Also, don't forget to subscribe and rate us on every single one of those applications. That is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher.
And
Please.
Tinder.
Is anybody
We are not
on?
on
I want to know if
Tinder.
anybody in our chat even is on Stitcher. That's what I want to know.
I don't think we
Well,
should make fun of it.
I'm not
I'm not
done
making
yet.
fun of it. I just want to know.
We're just giving
Kevin
people
Smith.
outlets.
I haven't found it.
Kevin Chandler Smith,
Yes.
I'm not done yet.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
Linz.
wow.
Thank you.
Pardon me.
If you own a business, Kevin,
Yes,
if you're running for office, Father,
Yes.
if you have money, John,
John. Oh,
Nope.
send us an email to a new email. It's Steve, Steve,
Wow.
at
Whoa.
LOCPOD.com.
Whoa.
Lindsay's like,
It's
thank God
the
it's not
big
me anymore.
leagues.
Steve at LOCPOD.
Lindsay's release. Steve,
Yeah,
I'm
if
done.
you don't, if you want Steve's number, just text me and I'll hand
Steve
it
at
out.
LOCPOD.com.
Steve at LOCPOD, LOCPOD.com.
Wow.
In other
Right.
words, stop sending them to you is what you're saying.
That's what I got out of it.
Yeah,
I
don't
that's why I
send
said
it to
she's
left of
free.
center at Gmail, please.
We have an
Awesome.
official LOCPOD email address now. That's great.
Steve at
Fancy.
LOCPOD.com.
So we
all
never
right.
got an answer on the rerun thing? Oh, this
We
is bugging
did.
me.
I want to circle back.
All
Both
right.
Google and chat is saying, hey, hey, hey.
Wow.
Hey. That's
You're
it.
right.
That's right.
It's the different way to say
How
it.
could you guys?
Hey.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, because we got confused that it was hey, and we didn't think about
Yeah.
that. You're right. It was
And
a
then-
different hey,
and then
hey,
it's like
hey.
it's more high pitched because he's
Yeah.
wearing the
Oh,
umbrella.
what is that?
The rainbow.
So-
It's hey.
Yeah, but that doesn't
That's how he
mean
did
gay.
it. I didn't say he was gay. He was wearing a rainbow thing. You
All
know,
right.
You
He could be from
you,
Orc,
right,
you
though?
speculated
He could be
that
from
he
Orc.
could be gay.
he could be. He was flashing.
Do that one more time.
Hey.
You've got it.
I know, dude. I could do all those.
That's
like
rerun from the
70s.
70s.
And then hey. They did the same thing.
That's interesting.
That is.
It was just a
Wow.
different hey.
And
hey.
you're really
you, Chad.
good at that impression.
Well,
by
we
the way.
watched.
Thank
You
you
got to
very
remember,
much.
John. We
Thank you
grew up
very
in the
much.
time of like 4 TV channels. What's happened?
Right.
I mean, there weren't a lot of choices.
Reruns of Lost in Space. Never miss those.
No,
Right?
Andy Griffith.
I never watched
I
that.
loved Andy Griffith. All right, let's do the ad. Let's do our.
Wait,
You
but
got it.
before this goes out of my view in chat, I got to bring this up.
All
Paul
right.
Goddard
Then we
says,
need to do our ads.
Paul
Sponsors,
Goddard
I mean.
is implying, I think, that Tom read Where the Wild Things Are to an entire school of elementary kids because Mayor Bill did his
Oh,
did the
Trying
garbage
to
pickup.
show
the
each other
fight's
up.
on. The best.
So,
best
are you
of
saying-
the
Be
mayors.
nicer.
So is Paul suggesting that I would be so petty as to read and kick butt like I
children?
did to
Use
a whole
children
school
to
of
make him look
children?
bad?
to try to win best mayor of the region? Does Paul really think that I would be that petty?
You wouldn't
Yes.
exploit children like that.
I would never ever exploit children
to
like that,
differ.
and I'd do this normal. Actually, he has it totally right. Yeah. I'm
a
going for
confession.
best mayor, and I sent a copy of that to Bill Carroll, who was gunning for me, and I said,
I
"My-
airdropped it
I'm on
to
my
Bill
A
Carroll.
freaking game.
Got my A game going.
I got
I'm
my
reading
A
to
game.
children.
I'm watching you, Mayor of Lake Station.
It was this thing for people who haven't seen this yet. This kind of blew up on social media. Tom read Where the Wild Things Are. Apparently, that's a wildly popular
It is
children's
a great
book.
book.
It's the best
Wonderful
book.
book.
To Harding Elementary School, and he did it on this video, and it made its way to social media. And we're gonna just play the intro now. But for everyone who hasn't seen
Just
it,
the intro, right?
yeah, just the intro.
All
Just-
I see is an empty
The intro's
chair
funny.
well, give me I'm opening up
Oh.
this thing, Kevin.
with some law books.
So
My
go to our
office.
LOCPOD page. You can watch this whole thing. But here's
You could listen to it too. This is only going to be 25, 30 seconds.
yeah,
so.
just the intro where
So
Tom
hang
is
with us.
shocked he's reading to the whole school.
Hey, John, how's it going?
Good, Mayor.
Nice cappuccino.
So what are we doing today?
John's in it.
We are reading a book to Harding Elementary.
Oh yeah, but Harding Elementary. I love Harding Elementary. So which class am I reading to?
Oh, Mayor, it's the entire school.
The whole school.
The entire school.
Every
Whole
kid-
student body.
Every kid.
Every single one.
Eva, nobody told me I'm reading to the whole school. Look at, I'm not even dressed, John.
Pretty high
What am I
pitch,
supposed
like
to do?
rerun.
All right, hold on. Let me get my stuff. The whole school, every kid.
Every single kid.
Hold on, I got to start getting. I can't do it like this. Are you kidding? Like nobody told me I'm doing the whole school. That's crazy. Like every kid in the school. Hold on, be right back. Is this all right? Huh? Gosh, I'm super nervous. Are we all right?
Great.
Pretty
you like?
embarrassing.
Great.
I mean, I don't want to let them down. These kids are really smart. They're going to know that I'm not ready, you know?
We're going to
right.
cut it here. Okay.
They want me to
here's
read
gonna
this
decide
book?
what books to
Federal
read.
Administrative Law? This thing's like 1,000 pages. I can't read. It'll take me a month. Here, that's out. All right.
Not that one.
Elton John?
You want to read
I don't
the
know about Elton John.
book?
I mean, there's like little kids in this school. They can't read this. All right. The other side, now you're talking. This looks like a good one. And then, the wild thing?
There
Way.
it is. Very nice.
All right.
So go on our page and check out that full video. I've never laughed so hard at Tom reading a children's book. It was great.
It was good.
Have you done it before? Have you seen him read a children's book before?
I'm sorry. I didn't use the comma right in that, or I didn't say that right. I've never laughed so hard
Comma.
hearing. No, that's still not right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when Tom.
You know what I'm saying.
When Tom reads you children's books to bed every night, John, this is the funniest
Brings
one.
you a cup of warm
It's getting a
milk.
little weird.
Reads
Yeah,
you
this
a
is.
book.
Yeah.
I don't want people to
Look
know
at that
about
face.
this.
That's
Yeah,
that's a good freeze frame.
Yep.
that's great.
All right, let's move on now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mayor
The
of
kids
the
of Harding
best
Elementary
of the
enjoyed
region.
it. The best mayor.
Well, you got to put a
America's
little
mayor.
humor in it.
America's mayor.
You
That's
gotta
what
put some
America's
humor in
mayor
it.
does. So anyway, don't forget to rate and subscribe. All that stuff that Lindsay said earlier. Thank you to our sponsors. First one, Misprint Printing, with both Munster and Hammond locations. Rick Baltensberger and his team are there for absolutely all of your printing needs. He's responsive, he's fast, and he's good. Banners and signs of all sizes, from wrapping cars to business cards. No job is too big or too small. Call Rick or Teresa at 219-836-2517.
Latitude Commercial is a full-service commercial real estate brokerage and property management firm specializing in northern Indiana and the Chicago suburbs. Local tenants, the national developers, have benefited from Latitude's experience in the commercial real estate market. When you select Latitude Commercial, you get Chicagoland expertise with worldwide marketing and networking ability. Whether you are a developer looking to sell, a tenant looking to expand, an investor looking to purchase, or an owner in need of property management services, Latitude can help. Contact Latitude at 219-864-0200 or LatitudeCo, that's latitudeco.com, so they can get to work for you.
Beam Longest Enough. BLN is an award-winning consulting firm with experience in all facets of infrastructure projects. Founded in 1945, BLN has provided decades of expertise as a consulting firm. Guided by third-generation leadership, the core group of BLN partners and associates strive to remain leaders within the consulting community. Our history and experience has helped us define a clear vision to work towards total client satisfaction. For more information, call Beam Longest Enough at 1-800-382-5206.
The Ron J. Prestimer Insurance Agency has been located for decades right on Indianapolis Boulevard in Hammond, serving all of your insurance needs. They specialize in a wide variety of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, life, and much more. The Prestimer Agency serves over 1,000 people and businesses all around Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie at 219-844-0103. Thanks to our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsors.
Keep us in business. Steve at LOCPOD.com. If you want to be a sponsor.
I would love to be able to listen to the whole show today, but a cat's in a tree and I am off to rescue it, says Mayor Bill.
Is he really saying that?
Yes.
He also said phenomenal acting skills. LOL.
It's full on war.
I think.
It's full on war right now, Mayor Bill. I'm just letting you know.
I think he was
It
being-
really
I think he was
is.
being sarcastic.
The hype is real.
I'm taking out Mayor Bill. Don't take it the wrong way when you see my billboards all over Lake Station. Don't take it because I'm gonna abuse campaign money to campaign across
Oh,
for best mayor.
That was a joke.
For best mayor of
For
the
legal
region.
reasons, this is a joke.
No, that's campaigning. That's politics.
What are you campaigning
What
for?
if-
Best of the region?
Yes,
All right.
that's right. God dang it.
What
So-
if Best of the Region was also like a triathlon among the mayors, right?
Oh,
Like
mayor's
you had to
gonna win that.
compete
I
in
like that
yeah,
idea, John.
swimming, biking, all this type
Running,
of stuff.
Let's go, Mayor Bill.
bowling.
I'm like happen to be training right
Uran,
now.
all of them.
I like it.
We'll live
Javelin
stream
There's
the
only
bowling.
whole
one
thing.
mayor with the championship bowling pin here. and
That's right. That's
Bowling.
right.
Tom. Bowling Spartan
Bowling.
triathlon.
A true
5-minute chess.
true man sport.
Gymnastics.
Bowling.
It's the only sport you can
true
have a cigarette, smoke, have a beer.
You can
and
get
still-
wasted and compete simultaneously. So,
Still got to be good at it. I mean, it's not
hey,
easy
by
to
the
do
way,
that.
you notice my
I
cool-
did see that.
I know.
Nice little vest.
I like it when
from-
you guys give me stuff to wear on the show. This is coming from the data center group, Digital Crossroads. Tom Dockich, Kirk Alful, Jesse, and all the guys that
Very
are
nice.
helping build our data center gave me this awesome vest.
That was where you got stuck in the snow.
North faced vest. Yeah,
It's
that's
really nice.
I know.
They're not messing
Expense.
around.
North Face.
They
I
spare
know.
no expense.
This is going on my ski trip with me because it's got zippers galore.
Look at you.
It's great.
Thank you, Data
Outstanding.
Center. For
Way to go.
It's got
Tom
inside
Dockich.
and outside zippers. You could hide all kinds of stuff in here.
Look at you.
I love it. So thank you to Digital Crossroads for dressing me today. If you want to dress me, I will wear your stuff.
I love this.
Well, this
You have to
isn't-
contact Steve
this
at
isn't free,
LOCPOD.
by the way. Steve at LOCPOD.com, Mr. Dockich.
You
Uh,
dress
Send
me,
your
I will
free
wear your stuff.
You're
You can
supposed to do
still
that
send
after they
to the
pay,
other
not
one.
before. Like they're getting free. This is free sponsorship.
this is a bit, dude, for sure.
What's that?
People start dressing Tom.
Dress Tom.
okay.
It costs a couple bucks.
That might be
Literally
good
a
thing.
couple bucks. And I need it for the swear jar. So dress me. I will wear your stuff.
Who are
Right?
you wearing?
I'm wearing Digital Crossroads today. They're very
Nice.
nice people. Apologies.
Do you have any?
I think last show was lame.
Is that possible?
I don't think I enraged one single person.
I don't think last show was lame, by the way. I thought last show was good.
But I don't think I enraged anybody.
That's up as your attorney. I'm happy about that you have no apologies.
You routinely enrage me, Father.
Well, you have to apologize.
I already apologized to Lindsay
a
last
couple
show.
times. She should be apologizing to us. She's $9 short.
$9 short.
I'm sorry,
That's
I'm poor.
actually $9.50 short. Probably she threw in about 45 cents.
No, I threw in at least $2 worth of change.
All right, fine. You're $8 short.
All right,
I'll bring in $8 next time.
All right.
yeah, right.
No apologies. I think you've skated.
I think last show was pretty clean. I said the dude about 20 times about the aggression
Right.
and all that.
Yes.
But other than that, I think it was a normal day.
Congratulations.
I'll take it.
The apology count is 0.
Next show, I will piss off somebody
Yeah,
this
well,
show. I promise.
What I like
gonna
too
go for
is in real time you offended and then apologized immediately, like with Mayor Bill. Right? Is the same show.
Yeah, you're right. That saved us from from having to apologize this
Oh.
show.
Yeah.
Jill said that you need to apologize to TJ because last show
Oh.
you said that
Uh-oh.
My dog, TJ.
you
When
would
I
die
said
for
that-
Lucy, but not
That's
TJ.
true.
If
did
I was
say that.
confronted, okay, I do apologize to my dog, TJ. By the way, I would fight for my dogs. John brought it up, and I look like a dog hater. I was just being funny because it's when I'm in studio, it's a bit 95% of the time. I would fight for TJ.
By the way,
TJ would fight. Check this out. I walked in my backyard the other day, and I had like a hoodie on and everything. And my dog TJ ran up to me like he was gonna bite my arm off.
and
I was so happy.
Maybe it was because he knew it was you after what you said about him last
He's
show.
listening. He's
He's
listening.
like, I know who that is.
He's like, you're gonna let
you
me
won't
go?
die. You won't die for me. By the way, congratulations to Lady Gaga getting her dogs back.
Yeah.
How did? By the way, the LAPD said by an uninterested woman who returned the dogs. How is that possible?
Well, what choice did you have at this point? Like I said, you're either going to take the dogs for a walk in the Sahara or you're in the Mojave, or
I guess return them.
So
I-
Death
They
Valley. that's
probably
what I was
just
saying.
released the dogs because they didn't want anything to do with it, and somebody found them.
Wow, if that happened, that's miraculous.
Well,
Well,
good for her.
Wow.
I have the feeling that these people, like, they didn't realize that they belonged to a celebrity.
what?
And then they got
Oh.
so much heat that they were
I agree.
nervous and
You
they just
might
let them
be
go.
right, Lynn.
Because you can't really sell these dogs at that
Right.
point when it's national news.
So they just
Even
were
a-
like, we're going to take these French bulldogs.
Yeah.
Not these are
yeah,
Lady Gaga's
these
dogs.
we didn't know they were Lady Gaga's, and we shot somebody, so you got to get rid of these dogs because
So you just, like, let them go out the back door.
Ah,
and then somebody
you
finds
might
them.
be
and
right,
I
Lenz.
guarantee you that's what happened.
That's what I
The
think.
heat was too hot.
Yeah, they're like, we stole the wrong dogs.
Yeah, they're
These
like,
dogs are
You got
famous.
to be kidding me. We stole
Like-
Lady Gaga's French bulldogs.
And we shot somebody when we did it.
That guy saw him in the hospital. He looks rough, man. The poor guy's
He
recovering.
got shot
and-
in the chest.
Yeah,
didn't he? That's awful.
He said Miss Asia calmed him down. She came back and
Aw.
calmed him
Oh,
down when he's
God.
bleeding. So
One of the 3 dogs.
I'm glad.
I
that's-
love Lady Gaga, but Miss Asia for a dog name.
Oh, I think it's cute.
Come on now.
Do you
Come
see how
on,
cute
lady.
those dogs are?
Come on, Mrs. Gaga.
Well, she's got Gustavo
Miss
or
Gaga. She's
Gustav
not
and
married.
Koji.
I'm rolling my freaking eyes. man.
Koji, Gustav.
Koji is a good dog
and,
name.
And Miss Asia. They're cute.
By the way, chat is exploding right now with this triathlon idea for
Really?
best mayor. People are saying it should be a region triathlon, like pierogi eating contest.
I could do it.
Bring it
This
on.
is a great
I'm in
idea.
training right now.
Times, if you're listening, I think you need to add this triathlon to your
As
best
their,
mayor.
like a prereq.
Yeah,
Like, did they win the mayor
I'm down.
triathlon?
I'm down.
let's
man.
do it. We'll
I'll
live
win.
stream the whole thing.
Dave Uran's faster runner than I am, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, he runs a lot,
I
and
can
he's
eat
good.
pierogi better than anybody.
You're not a mayor, though, Lindsay.
You gotta get elected
Dang.
first. Yeah. Hey, you guys want to talk a little Merrillville politics? Seems to be the topic of the day, and we've sort of ignored it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I don't know.
You
Merrillville
might-
politics, more like
No, this is for those of you that don't live in the region, this is a story that applies
anywhere.
evenly. It does apply. It's about what happens when you did something 25 years ago that nowadays is not acceptable. And
Yeah.
probably wasn't acceptable 25 years ago, but nowadays it's definitely not acceptable. And what I'm talking about in this case is you wore a Halloween outfit that modeled after a Chappelle Show skit where you were a Caucasian dressed in blackface
as a black white supremacist.
as a black white supremacist and getting arrested. And no, you have a shirt that says "Kill Whitey" on it,
Yeah.
right?
You're
and
in
then-
blackface, though.
and you're getting
Never
and
a
you're
good
taking
idea.
pictures with somebody dressed in a Klan outfit, and supposedly the person in the Klan outfit's African American.
Is a black white or white black supremacist. Or wait, black white. I forget how
Whatever.
you said it.
Yeah, but
The opposite.
so anyway, we have a Merrillville town councilman. Apology was posted Saturday on a Facebook page of Merrillville town councilman Jeff Minchuk. He is also a sheriff's deputy police officer. He is taking total responsibility for this. Okay, and this is the question is something that interests John a lot about cancel culture. Is this is what Councilman Minchuk said. And this picture was taken 20-something years ago, 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2003.
Sure, 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago.
Okay. I blame nobody else for what happened. It was my decision and a poor one at that. The thing that bothers me the most is this is not who I am, Minchuk wrote. I never have been or ever will be involved in any type of racism. Minchuk currently serves as Merrillville councilman for Ward 3. The photos were obtained by the Northwest Indiana Times from sources familiar with the situation and confirmed Minchuk is the man wearing blackface in both of them. The photos, which reportedly were taken about 2003 at a Halloween party, show Minchuk wearing blackface and a wig of black curly hair and a sweatshirt that says "Kill Whitey." In the photos, he's standing next to a person dressed in a Ku Klux Klan robe. Another photo shows a man dressed up as a police officer holding a prop baton in the air with Minchuk posed with his hands behind his back. Minchuk's Facebook post states that the man in the Klan robe was an African-American friend of his who had coordinated the Halloween costumes with him. The post states that Minchuk and his friend were portraying characters from a popular comedy skit from the Dave Chappelle Show, which includes a white supremacist who is black. He said he and his friends discussed the show and how it sparked an idea for Halloween costumes. We were all in our mid-20s to early 30s at the time, the Facebook post states. After having a conversation with one of my good friends about the show, we had the idea to attend a Halloween party and dress up as characters based on the show. My good friend, who is African-American, went as the black white supremacist, and I went as the opposite. We thought that switching races for the party would be comedic. Just like the show skit, we were hoping to show people that, even though this is comedy, we could all get along no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? I think it brings up, and I agree, John's brought this up before about cancel culture. It's like, okay, well, what do you do about something like this? I think the immediate reaction of social media is always going to be terrible. Mm-hmm. And like, let's just, he needs to resign. He needs to be done. And you kind of look back and say, okay, well, if you did something a long time ago, I'm not defending this. I mean, it was stupid.
There should be like
not a good idea to dress up in blackface if you're a white guy, by the way, just FYI. I think it's just
obviously
bad idea, right?
But like, we're talking about 2003.
I mean, I think we were all in 2000. I wasn't in blackface in 2003.
I wasn't either.
So I mean, or
but still, I know people that did. I mean, you would see people back in the 80s and 90s and 2000.
Sure,
they would dress in inappropriate Halloween costumes.
Well, you remember this, Mayor, is that like the governor, I think, of Virginia had a picture of
Governor Nordham, right?
Yeah, and I think the Prime Minister in Trudeau did, right, John,
right?
Right. So I mean, so the question I think becomes, if you say that's not me, I was stupid, I didn't, I understand what that means now, I probably didn't then. Does that follow you? And where is it? Does it happen to the ballot box? Do you think it? Is that where you should be? Have your fate determined.
So basically what we're saying is if you do something in your past, should it define who you are decades later?
Let me flip it, right? Let me flip it. Let's say you're a black guy and you grew up in a neighborhood where there was a lot of gangs and you, for whatever reason, you were in a gang in your teens. And there's some picture that surfaces and you're throwing gang signs up or you're in gang colors.
So I have employees that work for me now, to 2021,
right,
that I know when they were kids were in trouble. Some of them were in gangs.
Yep.
I don't know how actively involved they were, but I do know some of them have tattoos that they got from the gang lifestyle, and they work for me now. And I'm not going to name names, but there are a lot of these employees that in their 20s or in their teens were super rough are now excellent adults and doing a great job at work. Should I hold it against them that they did something when they were very young, like joined a gang?
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, I would argue that white people might hold that more against somebody when they see a black guy in gang colors when they're a teenage than maybe a black person would, because maybe they understand that some people were involved in that back then, or maybe Hispanic culture. I don't know. I'm just curious that, I don't think that should go with you forever and ever and ever and ever. If you've made a change in your life and you've been able to say, look, that's behind me, that's not me anymore. It's like marijuana charges now, right? I mean, think about all these marijuana charges.
So if you had a marijuana charge when you were in high school.
Yeah, 5 times a chance that you have a marijuana conviction on your record if you're African American versus white. I mean, should that carry with you forever?
So let's say when I was in high school, I got charged with possession of marijuana, and then I run for mayor, and they bring that up.
You're a drug addict.
Right. He was charged with possession of marijuana when he was a kid.
Because he had a joint or something.
Right.
You must be a drug addict forever.
So I guess the question is, what is held against you, even though it was decades earlier? So in this case, obviously this is a serious situation.
For sure.
And obviously, I bet Councilman Minchuk wishes this never happened to him.
Without a doubt.
However, what's the goal here? Do I think that he should resign because of this? Me personally? No, I don't.
I think it should be done at the ballot box.
I think that's exactly
if the residents of Merrillville feel that this is enough to get rid of your councilman, then they would do that.
And I think that, people know him a lot. I know Councilman Minchuk, and, he's never struck me that way. But then again, I'm a Caucasian, and so is he. But, I think there's something between him and his constituents. And you see a lot of pressure being put on him right now. They want him to resign. And for all I know, he's an outstanding councilman, So, he did something when he was in his 20s, and it was 20 years ago. And because that came to light now, he should resign his office.
I think
that's a question mark, because I don't really necessarily agree with that.
I think the key is confronting it, discussing it, and then a determination of what should happen to him. Because I think he did the right thing to come out and explain exactly the context of it, explain what happened, and then it's up to the public to decide and his constituents to decide.
Well, that's the thing, Kevin, that you just said. It's what's missing a lot today, is the discussion part. It seems like something happens, and it's just
boom,
emotion, just a wave of emotion on social media. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at. Look at Morgan Wallen, the country singer.
Yeah.
He's drunk. He says the N-word.
Terrible.
And just wiped off. And by the way, like Tom said, we're not making excuses for anyone.
No,
we're talking
not
about
anybody.
Serious topics that incite a lot of emotion.
Yep.
We get it.
But John, if you said the N-word, I feel much different about that than I do about wearing blackface on Halloween. If you say the N-word, you're a racist in my book. And I don't think, honestly, if you said the N-word in the 80s, it was wrong then. If you said it in the 90s, it was wrong then. If you said it now, it's wrong. So, if somebody says that to me, bye-bye.
Well, you got to be out of your mind, really, in today's day and age to not understand that that's a word you're not supposed to be using. And
Kevin, even when you and I were young,
I agree.
I agree. When we were 10 years old,
you heard it a lot more.
You did, but we also, I was raised that you never say it. You respect this race.
That's right.
And you get along,
that's
and
right.
That's how I was raised. I knew from the moment I was 10 years old that word should never be uttered by anybody close to me. So if you do that, I feel that's unforgivable. If you had a tape of me 20 years ago dropping N-bombs, I should resign for sure, in my opinion. But if a guy is wearing a Halloween outfit 20 years ago, come on.
Well,
seriously, it was obviously a joke.
I still don't think it's ever a good idea to be. I mean, look, we were
Kevin,
all alive
we're saying
then.
that in 2021.
I know,
okay.
But I never considered putting on blackface in the 90s.
I agree with you. That's you though. But how about this? Good friends of ours. I'm not going to get into details. Asked me to go to a Halloween party when I first became mayor.
Okay.
And I said, no way in hell, because people are going to take pictures of me and they're going to use it against me down the road, right?
I didn't go.
And these same people that went to that Halloween party had pictures taken of them and used against them. And there were jokes. One of them was Lance Armstrong, and he had hypodermic needles in his arm. And another one was a Hooters woman, a slutty Hooters woman. And it's embarrassing, but it's Halloween. And this is Halloween.
I get it that it's Halloween, but you can still be offensive on Halloween. I think you can still do something that can offend people on Halloween. I'm not saying it. I don't think it's a good idea to do. But I do agree that the question is what should happen because of it. And if you explain it,
what's the goal?
And what's the goal? What's the end game of this?
Are we trying to get him to resign? Are you trying to embarrass him? Are we satisfied? Seriously, Councilman Minchuk has definitely been embarrassed.
If you're a gangbanger in the 90s, should I consider you a gangbanger now?
That's right.
I mean, I think
that's crazy. Because I'm not going to mention names, but I have an employee that is an outstanding employee for one of our utilities. Okay, I know for a fact this employee, when he was younger, was rough. Rough, running with the wrong crowd, possibly even in trouble with the police. Okay. Now this employee kills. He is awesome. Not kills, wrong word. This employee is an outstanding employee, and he does a great job, and we never have problems with attendance, or he's just one of our model employees. Now, if a picture comes out of this employee back in the day wearing, gang colors, do I fire him now? That's craziness. He's totally changed his life.
Right. And I think blackface is a problem to me personally. I don't think it's ever a good idea.
I mean, honestly, do you think he should resign? I mean, honestly, Kev.
I think it's up to the voters. I don't think he should resign. I think he's,
well, obviously it's up to the voters.
Yep. Yeah.
What does that mean, though?
When he's up for election next time.
Okay, so when he's up for election, this is obviously going to be.
I think he has to explain himself, and he has to explain himself to the voters, and it's up to them to decide.
Let me ask you, what kind of things shouldn't go away? How about I got another example that came up with a good friend of ours, friend of the show, Mayor Dave Woerpel, ran for mayor last time against a woman whose husband was a convicted murderer. And he went to prison for murder, and he got out, and now he rehabilitated his life, and he's a changed citizen. And when his wife was running for mayor at Crown Point, rumors started circulating that her husband was a murderer, and he was a murderer. But do you hold that against her? Do you hold that against him? Because he did his time.
Again,
right?
it's up to the voters, and they decided not to elect her.
I think murder is one you don't forgive.
Well, I think crimes against children, crimes against children,
molester,
or whatever. Any crime against a child, I think is.
I'll be honest with you. Any violent crime, like if you punch somebody in the face and got I don't know, man. Hey, Councilman Woerpel.
There are bar fights all the time.
Bar fights? Yeah, bar fights different. Speaking of bar fights.
Bar fights.
Bet you days. This is, ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Woerpel, Dave Woerpel. I call him the mailman.
From mailman to council president.
Yeah, ain't that something?
He's my council president in the city, Hammond. Hammond City Council president. He was formerly my mailman. He's my good friend. Dave Woerpel is also an author. He's writing a book as we speak.
Wow.
Finally doing it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of being one of the Gunner brothers,
One of the what?
Gunner brothers. I'm Gunner
brothers. I never heard that before.
Dave Ham calls Tommy Zirkle and I, the firemen, the Gunner brothers because we're always gonna
do
something.
Really?
So
Nice.
I just decided one day that during this pandemic, I guess I was gonna put all them stories together and write a book. And
so what's your opinion on Councilman Minchuk? I mean, that whole I don't mean to put you on the spot, but like Dave, I imagine 20-something years ago you did some dumb shit too, right?
It's in a book.
Bink.
It's going in a book.
I just put $1 on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I look at it as what can he live with as far as, doing the right thing. Because when I'm on the council, I try to do the right thing all the time.
Of course.
And if I did something like that 20 years ago, number one, shame on me because I knew better back then.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever dress up for Halloween?
No, I was never.
You know what's funny? I never really dressed up for Halloween either.
Halloween wasn't a big.
It's been a while since I
holiday
dressed
for
up
me.
for Halloween.
Yeah.
I can't say.
If I did, I might have been in my mailman uniform.
Or delivering the mail late, just having trick or treating time.
Yeah, trick or treating.
Didn't quite get it.
But Halloween gets people in trouble, man. People let all their inhibitions out, and they go as like a stripper. They go as oh, dude, I've seen some crazy Halloween
Stripper,
outfits.
John.
So you take a picture of somebody. Let's say you got a picture of your private parts or something. Like, dude, you've never seen stuff like this?
I know.
For Halloween, I'm
Halloween
going
parties.
naked.
I don't go to exciting Halloween parties. I got to go.
You go to Halloween parties where people dress totally inappropriately, and they're being funny, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody takes a picture of you. Let's say that I'm this crazy person, and I have this crazy outfit, and I'm trying to be funny. I go to a Halloween party, and everybody thinks it's a riot, and I win the prize, and they all take pictures of me.
Right.
20 years later, I'm council
20 years
president.
later on like March 18th,
right,
when it's not Halloween.
Right. And they bust it out, and they said, look at this pervert.
Yeah,
he's got a stripper leg, and his private parts are showing. And I'm like, that's a Halloween costume from 20-something years ago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are we so lame as a society that we can't recognize these things? I mean, that's the thing, is like we're getting a little pansy-ish. In my opinion.
This is the.
I know, John. I knew this was going to be right up your alley.
The wimpiness of America.
It's the wimpiness.
Look, guys, right now, the biggest news is the gender of a plastic potato. Like, this is totally, we've gone so beyond.
Is that really the biggest news?
No, I don't
know.
know.
One
It's
article
huge.
about
I
it.
don't think it hit
like
the front
a few days
page,
ago.
but-
A few days ago. This was really big a few days ago. But Tom, I completely
I think the
Regs that
potato
you're
head should have a
following.
penis, personally.
Tom, I
What?
completely agree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Wait, Mr. Potato Head he's a potato.
No,
But
it's not Mr. anymore,
it's
Kevin.
like it's
How
trans-
dare you?
Potato head.
I am so
transgender
offended.
potato head.
I'm going with Mr. Potato. There's a Mr. and a Mrs.
No,
Potato
it's
Head.
not. That's what John's talking about.
In my world,
it's
there's
gone,
a Mr.
Kevin.
and a Mrs. Potato.
They
Not
stripped
anymore.
they stripped off his genitals.
Don't offend me,
He
Kevin.
He never
by
had
calling
any.
a potato a gender. I will be so upset with you.
I look at that, the last,
Wait, can't you
last
put, like,
2
the
years. I mean,
fancy
we're
lips on
arguing
and
about
become Mrs.
cartoons
Potato?
Not anymore.
and toys nowadays.
Everybody's talking over each other, so like we have to go one at a time.
I'm sorry.
I remind everybody.
Okay, tell me who's up.
No, I'm just saying, like when people are listening and everybody's talking at once, it's totally confusing. So
Well, I got off on Mr. Potato Head.
yeah,
I was just reiterating your point about, I mean, in the last 2 years, it's been crazy. We're talking about cartoons and potatoes and stuff like that, and I don't really see, other than on social media, I don't get the issue. It's like,
it's the wimpification of America.
It seems like it's driven. It gets driven by social media. These aren't topics that I talk about every day. But then again, maybe I'm not in the cool school.
I could give a crap if it's Mrs. Potato. Like, what about Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man? Was that done now too?
I hope not.
We can't
I love
have
Miss Pac-Man.
We can't have Mrs. Pac-Man with a ribbon in her hair.
I was much better at Miss Pac-Man.
Not all women wear ribbons. Like, it's so stupid. It's stupid what we're doing in our country is stupid. It's like we need to get a little tougher as society. You know what? I'm watching Band of Brothers right now, and we need a good war in America because, like, we need to start loving each other.
We've been in a war.
What I'm telling you is, back then, the greatest generation that fought this horrible war where they were just getting slaughtered, they all didn't
Yeah,
give a
we
crap.
should go to war where most of our men get slaughtered by the thousands in another
what I'm
country.
saying is
Definitely an
It
ideal
unified the
time
country.
period.
Unified the country.
it did unify the country, and they had something real to worry about, not whether or not freaking Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, had genitals or whatever. Like,
Well-
it's ridiculous. What we're doing in this country is ridiculous, and it goes to why Trump became as popular as he did, is because there's regular Americans out there that are just like John and said, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Who cares about Mr. and Mrs. Potato
I agree,
Head,
it's
right?
ridiculous, and I think a
It's
lot of it's a
stupid, Kevin.
social media, internet-driven stuff.
It's coming mostly from our party, let's be honest.
Well, I mean, I think
It
it's
is.
coming from a certain segment of our party. It's
The-
not coming from my part of the
No,
party.
it's not coming from my part of the party either, which is in the middle.
Right.
Are you old enough to remember the schools when you were in school where they bring in the movie projector
Yeah.
and you would see like movies of what life in Russia was like?
film
And
strips?
what I mean by this is how they would talk about all the disinformation in their media and stuff like that.
Pravda.
And it seems like what they were teaching us, in the 1800s when I went to school, it's like it's come to life now. It's like I can't. You know how we all thought, my grandfather, he's crazy, and I'm looking at life anymore going, a lot of this isn't making any sense.
But like,
I mean, we have an argument over wearing masks.
I know.
Right.
Stupid, isn't it?
Which is
It's
another
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
It
When
is
I delivered
ridiculous.
Columbia Center, I never used the condom, and now I got to wear a mask on my face. You know what I mean?
Well, and
You had a
it's
condom
become-
for delivering?
You know what I mean?
and it's become political. And I mean,
It was a joke. It was
Tina's
a joke.
like, don't worry, Dave.
I'm trying not to have to add to that.
What I always tell Marissa when I talk in here, half of it's BS. Like 90%. So like Tina, half of what comes out of Dave's mouth in the studio is BS. I
You have
promise.
a 50% residual. You're fined for 50% of what you say.
Well, there you
can
go.
be forgiven.
Yeah. I'm just trying not to have to add to that. You guys don't take a debit card, do you?
Hey, Dave,
all I got.
one of the things that I think is something you talked about, or that you don't talk about a lot, but I know this about you because
Yes.
I've known you for so long, is your sobriety.
Yes.
And I know it's something, I mean, I don't mean to kind of get serious here,
No, that's great.
but I think it's also an important topic because it's something that I'm proud of you about because I've known you, and so has the mayor,
20
when
years
you were
now.
drinking,
Yeah.
and now when you're not drinking. And so
he was a lot more fun when he was drinking.
Well,
I'm just messing.
he called a lot later at night,
Yeah.
and he talked a lot more when he did call. Then.
And I think I interrupted a speech one time that he was giving
Really?
because Mayor Pastrick walked in, and I think I stood up and said, "Hey, Mayor Pastrick's here," or something like that during one of your speeches.
What?
I don't remember that.
Can you talk just a little bit about? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot.
No,
here.
go ahead.
How long you been sober, and why'd you decide to go sober?
Was there like a certain thing that put you over the top?
It was a combination of all of it. I mean, I've been sober 13 years now, February 11th.
That's great.
And I don't know if you guys knew this about me, but at the time, but I was an 18-beer drinker a day.
So like, I mean, are you allowed? To, I mean, to drink 18 beers in a day, that means you're drinking during the workday and stuff
yes,
like that.
yes. Living on the route did not,
So you would like stage beers along the route and.
Well, I lived on the route that I
Right.
delivered,
Right.
the same way
Oh,
you
that's
did.
true.
But what I would
That's
do,
true.
what I would do is I would stop at 7 a.m. Liquors on Kennedy Avenue every morning at 7 a.m. because we didn't start till 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd sit in the parking lot and drink 6 beers before I ever went to work.
Every day.
Every day.
So what do you say, Dave? What do you say to people that are struggling with it? Like, say, like I'm in that situation, or I'm trying to get out. What do you say to them?
Have you had enough yet?
What was it for you, Dave? Like, when did you know? Like, this is it. I'm
Well,
done. Did
it
you
was-
ever think before all that? I mean, did you like try it before and never succeed, and then one time it was finally just
So like 30 years earlier, to get out of some trouble at home or whatever, I went into an AA program for 90 days. And part of a 12-step program.
When was that?
Like 30 years ago.
okay before you and I knew each other?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And part of the 12-step program is they give you coins after every 30 days. Well,
Right.
I got my 90-day coin, and I took it to the bar and said, hey, look what they just gave me, and everybody's, hey, congratulations, let me buy you a beer, and then I wasn't serious then. And it was, I came back from vacation, and the Sunday before I was on vacation, I got totally loaded. I mean, like, me and another guy drank 36 beers all day Sunday.
Wow.
I would die if I drank.
Yeah, it
18.
just, but I was.
How could you like physically drink that much? Like
people-
seriously, like
Your
that would
body
fill
gets
you
used
up.
to it.
Yeah. people don't understand you can be a working drunk, and I think that a lot.
But what I'm saying, isn't that like, wouldn't that make you full? Like,
Oh, yeah, it
beer
always
makes
did.
me so bloated and full.
But you know, part of being a mailman is at least in my case, and I know a lot of other cases, you don't eat breakfast or lunch. And the reason is the last thing you want to be is 2 blocks away from your truck, and all of a sudden, your stomach gives you that 2-minute warning that you better get to a bathroom real fast, you know.
Right.
But I came back from vacation, and I went to 7 a.m. Liquors, and it was like 20 degrees below zero on February 11th of 2008. And they weren't open. So I said, okay, I'll just go after work. I was kind of hungover, you know. To make a long story short, that was back when I met you that night at 8 o'clock at night, and I pulled you over in the middle of the street, you know.
Were you drunk then?
Yeah, probably.
That's how we met.
Yeah, I had
I thought you were going to kill me. The first time I met Dave,
Yeah.
I'm driving down my residential street, and I have a freaking mail truck going like 80 miles an hour chasing me. And I see it in my rearview mirror. I'm like, what is this mail truck chasing me down for?
I didn't know he lived in the house because I was filling in
I just
at the
moved to the
time.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
And your dad, I saw your dad at the bank, and your dad told me that you had moved in, and I said, well, he lives on my route. He says, when you see him, say hi to him. He's leaving his house like at 8 o'clock at night, and back then we were doing 12-hour days.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when I saw you coming down the street, and I'm like, hey, are you running for mayor?
He blocked my car. He like passed me
He's
and
like
blocked my
this on
car.
the car. He's like this in the car, too, as he's like trying to shake my, you know.
Dude, it scared
I
the
scared
crap
the
out
crap
of me.
out of
He
him.
did. I was like, who the hell is this crazy like psycho?
And here we are.
That's
So
that's my
anyway-
buddy Dave.
To make
18 years later.
Still friends.
To make a long story short, I was going to go after I got out of the office to the liquor store. And I had a boss that me and her started together, but we butted heads at times. And when I was ready to leave the post office, I looked in the rearview mirror, and her car was behind me. And I'm like, screw this. I'm just going to go to my route, which was where I started, was on 169th and Woodmar there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just figured, let me get my 12-hour day over at 20 degrees below zero. And I'll get it when I'll get my alcohol when I get home.
Mm-hmm.
Off that night at 8
Right.
o'clock. I pulled into Nick's Liquors on Kennedy Avenue, and when you're a mailman and you're on vacation, 1 week will cause you to like stiffen up totally. So by the time I got to the liquor store, I couldn't get out of the car. Mm-hmm. My legs were so sore because walking on the snow in the 20 degrees below zero day. So I just took my ass on home. I guess I owe you one. Mm-hmm. And went upstairs, sulked like I always do after work, and crawled into bed. And Tina's watching TV, and I said to her, "What are you watching?" And she said, "Celebrity Rehab." And I went, "Really? I could do that." And she said, "Do what?" And I said, "I could do what they're doing." And she laughed at me. Mm-hmm. And I went, "Okay, I'll show you." So it kind of pissed me off. She fell asleep, and I called another friend of mine that I knew was in the program, and I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What's the best way?" Well, right away, he told me I couldn't succeed unless I got into a 12-step program. Mm-hmm. I tried that once. It didn't work for me.
And it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, so I just decided one day that those two had pissed me off enough, telling me, you can't do it unless you do it this way or whatever, and I think one of the things I did is I let you guys and my friends know right away that, hey, I was trying to quit.
Right.
Because the way I explained it is, if you would have saw me 3 days after I told you that, you would say, "Hey, I thought you told me you were going to quit." But that would be the end of the conversation. But 2-3 months down the road, I think you have these things where your brain tells your body, give me the shit after 30 days. Mm-hmm. The 30th day was your fundraiser.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I mean, I just guess.
And
just
I
to
remember
finish up
calling.
the topic.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just say, Dave, congratulations. I mean, it's
Thank
great, and I think
Right.
the stories are good to hear because I mean, it's not one of these things where you know this about you, I know it about you, the mayor knows it about you, and obviously we're proud of you. And
Were you ever
it's a
tempted?
good story to.
Yeah.
You were tempted?
Yeah.
It's
Like,
a good story.
Are you
to
still
know.
tempted?
No, not
really?
at all.
No,
Not at
no,
all.
it doesn't- you don't miss it at all.
I can go into a bar or a restaurant and anything, and it doesn't bother me. I don't recommend it to people that are on
Right.
the edge, but it just doesn't bother me.
Do you
at
still
all.
go to AA meetings?
I haven't gone to an AA meeting
Really?
since I quit yet.
You don't think that's important? It seems like
But
a group like that.
if you
I think it depends on the person. Some people need that group,
Right.
and some people.
Yeah.
I know people in my family that just went cold turkey.
Yeah, right.
You know, and,
I know
and
what you
some
mean.
people do that. Some people
I'm
prefer to be.
a solo guy
Yeah,
too.
some people prefer
Right.
to just do it on their own,
Right.
and they don't want to be in a room where you have to stand up and say I'm an alcoholic. But some people that's good for.
I'll
You know,
even
so whatever,
include this in drinking, but like it's the same thing with the writing and all that. Is I go as hard as I can for as long as I can at everything I do, and then when I'm done, and that's what happened. With me at drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I started drinking beer at 14, and I went as long and as hard as I could. And then when I decided it was done, it was done.
All right.
Hey, with Councilman Woerpel in here, I thought there's a story that would be interesting to bring up. Do you mind if I bring up the East Chicago Fire Department issue, Kevin?
As soon as we just remember our sponsors real quick.
Sure.
Misprint Printing, Latitude Commercial, Beam Longus and Neff, and Ron J. Prestimer Insurance Agency. Thank you to our sponsors. All right, Mayor. Where are we
Did you hear
going?
me?
We don't.
Yeah, okay. East Chicago Fire Department, Local 365. Friends of the show. Something important happened this week, and I wanted to get, I think it's interesting with Dave in the studio. For those of you that aren't aware, Dave is council president of the city of Hammond. Obviously, I'm the mayor of the city of Hammond, so sometimes there's issues between Dave and I that, obviously we're friends, but we have to work through complicated issues because he has a job to do as council president, and I have a job to do as mayor. It appears that in East Chicago, they have a similar type of situation between the mayor and the council, except for I don't think they're very friendly. Just to remind you, East Chicago Fire Department, Local 365, the mayor and the fire chief, Mayor Copeland and Fire Chief Cerna, I believe his name is, imposed an unprecedented swing shift on the East Chicago firefighters about a year ago, if I remember correctly, where it forced East Chicago firefighters to work 8 hours on and 16 off. And for those of you that aren't aware, just about 99% of the fire departments in America have a firefighter working a full 24-hour shift, sleeping in the station, and then you get 2 days of recuperation before you have to show back up to work on day 4. So you'd work day 1 for 24 hours, day 2 you'd be off, day 3 you'd be off, and then day 4 you'd work 24 hours again. Obviously, when the mayor made this change to the Chicago firefighter shifts, that actually made him very unhappy. The city council in East Chicago got involved in this whole ordeal, and basically, so East Chicago Firefighters Local 365 opposed the unprecedented change in shifts and petitioned the East Chicago City Council to restore their old shifts. The East Chicago City Council overrode the mayor and imposed a normal 24 on, 48-hour shift off. The mayor blocked the move, Mayor Copeland, declaring an emergency and kept the fire department working the same schedule, 8 hours on, 16 hours off. He also claims the East Chicago Council is trying to usurp his authority as mayor. The East Chicago City Council members argue that they are the fiscal body and control the overtime, so they have the right to do what they're doing. And the reason this was in the news is because yesterday, a panel of 7 judges called en banc, for those of you that aren't aware, heard these arguments, and it's not very often that you have en banc panels of judges. So I was going to ask Kevin why they're hearing this en banc. Why isn't it just in front of Judge Parent?
En banc
It means like
That's a
all
panel.
together.
Yeah.
Like it basically means they all get together. So like, for example, in the Court of Appeals, sometimes they sit en banc and like all the judges will hear a case.
How often is it that in a
rarely.
Right.
It happens rarely. And in
is it because
Lake
the council
County,
and the mayor are suing each
No,
other?
not necessarily. You can request an en banc hearing, I think. And what the local rule says is that it means if you request an en banc hearing and it's granted, the judge whose court it's in, let's say it's in East Chicago, for example, in front of Judge Hawkins, he becomes the presiding judge of the panel, and then all the civil judges, it wouldn't include Judge McDermott because she's circuit.
Right.
So it just include, room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4, room 5, room 6, room 7. So 7. And if a majority of them can show up, that means they've got a quorum. So if 4 of them, it could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 6, or all 7. And then they hear the case, and they issue a joint decision. I guess theoretically they could vote 4-3. I don't think it has to be a consensus. It just has to be a majority. So they get to hear the case.
I think this is going to be interesting because I think that I may have a different perspective on this than Councilman Woerpel. So I was sort of, wondering what Councilman Woerpel thinks of the whole situation with the firefighters. I know you have very good friends that are Hammond firefighters, so you're aware of this situation. What do you think about this whole situation?
I think, number one, I think it's sad.
It is sad.
It's sad that it's come down to that, and that the mayor and the council can't come to a conclusion. And I'm biased. I mean, my best friend was Tommy Zirkle, and his dad was a firefighter, Dave Ham.
Tommy's a firefighter, Dave Ham's a good friend of yours, firefighter.
All these guys were friends of mine. And, I mean, to me, being a fireman is a lot different than being a mailman. And what I mean by that is I think they're together for 24 hours for the camaraderie of it, too, right? So they get to learn to work with each other and stuff. Is that true? That
yeah, I definitely
one of the
think
reasons that they
You
want
would
to
hope
stay
they
on,
learn to work with each other.
Right.
Well,
But I mean, when I worked and I work an 8-hour shift, I go home, I forget about work, you know. And I would think that you need these guys to all trust each other and work together and live together. And you know, to the point to where this has gotten to where they had to petition the city council. I mean, I would hope that situation would never happen in Hammond, but I don't, you know.
I would never do that to the Hammond firefighters.
Right.
I mean, and the weird thing is Mayor Copeland is a retired East Chicago firefighter.
Right.
So he's literally, you know, he's sticking it to his old firefighter colleagues. And it's a weird situation because you would think that a retired firefighter would be more sensitive to, and this is unprecedented. I've never seen any fire department in the United States of America, you know, that you work a day shift, 8 hours, and then you go home and then you work the swing shift the next day, and then you go home and you work the night shift the next day, and then you get 24 hours off and you start it all over again.
I thought I read something that there is precedent for that at different fire departments around the country, they're starting to move to that. I mean, I thought I read that in the past in some of the
That's
articles.
interesting.
Yeah, that's a different. I mean, obviously we're all used to it being 1 day on, 2 days off. Mm-hmm. But I mean, and the other thing is, I think legally, like just talking legally, I think the mayor's right.
I agree with Kevin on this. I think legally the mayor is on solid ground. Not that it's right. I don't think it's right at all. So if I was making a prediction about the en banc panel, I have a hard time.
I don't know how the executive can't do that. I mean, to me, it's a contract between the city and the fire union, and if it says shift decisions are up to the city, then I think the mayor's on solid ground.
I agree with you, Kevin.
I don't think it's a legislative. I think it's an executive
but
issue, not a
that doesn't
legislative
mean
issue.
that we agree that what Mayor Copeland did is right. I don't personally agree with it, but I'm not the mayor of East Chicago, and this is going back to something we said earlier about Councilman Minchuk. This is between Mayor Copeland and the residents of East Chicago to solve. Right. In my opinion, if I were making a prediction, I think the judges are going to hold for the mayor, and
I think legally the mayor's on solid ground. I don't know. I mean, again, the decision to make that is the mayor's, and it sits with the, like you said, residents of East
Like if
Chicago.
I did a bad thing in Hammond and I put our Hammond firefighters on weird shifts like this, and the council authorized it, I would get repercussions.
Well, here you had
from
an
the
issue
public.
with the firemen. Remember when you took a truck out of service?
Yes.
Firemen didn't like it.
Right.
You were like, hey,
and they did what
I'm doing it.
They went door to door and knocked on doors
and
then
put flyers out.
By the way, we ended up getting together and resolving that issue.
Mm-hmm. And you won your election.
I was getting pressure from the public. I was getting pressure from the firemen. I was getting pressure from the council. I react to pressure because that's my job, being a mayor that's elected by the people. And we put a peace agreement together and resolved it without litigation.
But I think legally you were on solid ground.
I think
as
so too,
executive.
You guys are
the attorneys here, so I have a question for you.
Whoa.
I mean, do we, like, when you negotiated with the police and the fire, that comes in front of us and we approve your contract.
True.
So do you guys feel that the council at least has a right to get involved in this?
That's the thing, though. Like, if I make a deal that you guys can't support, that's my fault. So like, we've had negotiations in the past. I've negotiated 5 contracts now, and we've had negotiations where council people were in there, and we had negotiations where council people aren't. But like, I always justify it that at the end of the day, I got to bring this to you. Right. So let's say I made a deal where I was giving 10% pay raises every year. I didn't, but if I made a deal that was ridiculous like that, and I brought it to the council, if you guys shoot down the contract, I got to go back and negotiate again.
Well, the contract's usually between the Board of Works, the mayor, and the union. I think the issue where it comes for the council is the budget.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's where the council's involvement is.
That's
It's a
where
budgetary issue.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But again, I have the type of relationship with you as not just a councilman, but as a council president that
you and I talk.
We talk about it. We talk
4 or 5 days a week. You and I.
Yeah, we talk 4 or 5 days a week, and you keep us informed on everything.
I go to lunch with you probably twice a month.
Yes.
I go to lunch with 4 of the council members twice a month to keep on the side of the council. I want to make sure that I'm always operating with at least the majority of the council members.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, that's where I say it's a shame because I don't think it should have had to come to this. Whatever the issue is.
So you obviously you're sympathetic to these Chicago firefighters, just like I'm sympathetic to these Chicago firefighters, and I know Kevin's sympathetic to these Chicago firefighters. But what I'm saying, and I think what Kevin's saying as well, is legally the mayor has the right to set the schedules, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sympathetic to the mayor, too, because I think, as an executive, and I face this a lot when you're making decisions. The question is, can the executive make the decision? And I generally believe and let you know that I think the executive can.
Do you think, okay, so do you think...
When you're within your right to do it.
So he said, Mayor Copeland says that the reason he's making these choices is to reduce overtime. And the firefighters say that's not true. The reason he's doing this is because we supported his opponent in the last election, and he's punishing us.
Yeah, those are the two versions.
Those are the two versions. So the question is, who's telling the truth?
I guess public opinion will... I mean, you got two issues, right, Mayor? You got the court case.
Right.
And then you've got an election.
And
Sure.
Those are totally... You got the court case is going to rule one way, and the court of public opinion is going to rule the other way.
They may or may not. They may rule the same way.
I forget what it was, but a couple of weeks ago we were talking about a couple of council members were talking about something, and I think I asked the question of, isn't that a contractual issue? And we don't handle contracts. You negotiate the contracts.
True. Right.
And I mean, believe me, and it's, I'm not trying to do a dance here. There's certain things I tell our council members, that's not up to us to negotiate contracts. That's between the mayor and the unions. And then it's up to us to approve them or not. But I also support firefighters and police officers, and it's a shame that they can't come together and work it out.
Let me ask you a question about how many times do you see like naked people answering the door and stuff like that?
Oh boy.
Or like,
John, there's a segue.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're off the firemen. Now we're talking about nudity.
Is anybody listening?
Yeah, right.
A couple people.
Don't say any names.
Hundreds.
Don't say names. Really?
Yeah.
What?
There was an incident. Hundreds.
Well, don't forget, this is over how many years?
37 years.
All right,
so what? Like that's average. Like once a month, you'd see naked
3
people.
A year, once a quarter.
Once a month, or once a quarter.
John's got his jaw. John's jaw
what's
just
the
dropped.
woman to male ratio on that?
Oh, there you go.
Good question. Mostly male. Mostly.
No. The most embarrassing situation happened with a male, but
that's always the case, isn't it?
I mean, do I have to be like politically correct right here? But
no,
I mean,
you're a councilman. It's up to you and your constituents.
I mean, your wife's listening, but
I hope you brought singles with you. There's a swear jar in front of you.
When you got to walk up to somebody's door and say, you know what, if you want to watch porn, that's okay. If you're going to do that, would you at least shut, you know what I mean by do that?
Right.
Would you at least shut the damn door?
Wow.
That's
exhibitionists.
Why the hell are you looking through their door?
Right there.
When the mailbox is, you know that old saying that no one knows what goes on behind closed doors? I walked by 587 a day, and about half of them were open.
Really? Wow.
So the door was open. He's watching an adult movie.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Watching in quotations.
Right.
Yes.
Action verb.
Yeah.
And if you purchase an ad sponsorship for our podcast, you contribute to the Send Lindsay McDermott to therapy.
I'll say this, and I'm not going to say what meeting it was or this or that, but you introduced me at a meeting, and when I stood up and shook my hand, the guy in front of me turned around and looked at me and turned beet red because he knew what I saw him doing several times.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Beat.
Yeah.
Action verb.
Red.
An action verb. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right now.
Thank you for that.
So
Good morning, everybody.
Before we wrap
Another
up,
time I had a guy wheel by me in a wheelchair coming out of the Indiana hotel. He was stark naked, and I go, "Where are you going?"
what did he
where
say?
are you going?
He said fishing, and he pointed over there towards
the river.
Yeah, he just had a hat on, and he pointed at Goldblatt's. And he was obviously, not. But I was like,
did you help him go fishing?
No, when I went outside,
Was he fishing?
When I went outside, he was sitting at the stoplight. I'm like, catch anything? And his nurse finally caught up with him. I guess he had gotten away from her. But I mean, it was. People don't realize that when someone's walking up to your door, close your damn curtains and shut your door.
Every time I'm watching adult flicks, I always make sure all the drapes are pulled. So.
There you go. Good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we wrap it up, John, anything we want to touch on?
So we have to go back to this, guys. There is a spirited discussion taking place in chat about the blackface incident, cancel culture, potato head, and I want to set the record straight on something, because there's someone in the chat saying, I can't believe what I'm hearing. They're comparing blackface to potato head.
Not true.
The gravity of the topics.
No.
It's all.
So.
We're not saying that. And I just want to clear on what I'm saying. From anything from blackface to cancel, to Me Too movement, to whatever. Should there be a chance for redemption, or is it just you're gone?
I think redemption and forgiveness are really important. I mean, I don't think it should be you're out for, you have a chance to redeem yourself, and you should have a chance to apologize. You have a chance to explain yourself, and then the court of public opinion, if you're an elected official, the election will decide, or whatever. I mean, if you're a famous singer, people won't buy your albums anymore, or they won't download your music anymore.
The thing about the law, the one thing I love about the law is there's this thing called the statute of limitations for most offenses.
Not for murder.
Not for murder, for most offenses, but after a certain period of time, it can't be held against you legally anymore, certain acts, because you have to file within a certain period of time. And that's why when it comes to situations like this, and you're talking 20 years later, I look at it a little bit different. That's a long time. And things have changed a lot in 20 years.
But there are some things, right?
If you drop an N-bomb 20 years ago, I won't forgive it, okay? Like, if you're dressing funny at Halloween 20 years ago, it's like...
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on the. I don't ever think blackface is a good idea, but I think it's within the context. You got to. It's
not a good idea, but it did it. So what do we do now? It's 20 years ago. He has a solid basis.
Let him explain himself.
He looks like the character in the Chappelle Show.
Yeah,
he has another character that looks like the character in the Chappelle Show. It's Halloween. It's a party.
That changed the way I thought about it.
I agree
by the
with
way,
you.
when I heard and I think people should have a chance to explain themselves. And if people don't agree with their explanation, vote them out of office. If people are like, okay, I get it,
right,
keep them in office if you like.
That's right.
I wasn't making a comparison to the two, but I mean, you want to talk about redemption? I had a helicopter fly over my house.
That's true.
Wow. Yeah, good point.
And
the sheriff at the time.
41 stories in the newspaper, and 8 years later, I'm running. I won in the caucus, but then I faced the voters, and I didn't. I mean,
for those of you that aren't aware, and a lot of you aren't, Councilman Woerpel was targeted by Sheriff Dominguez at the time, who was a sheriff a long time ago. He literally flew taxpayer-funded helicopter over Dave's house and took a picture of like 5 tiny pot plants.
Yeah, your kids. Your kids were. Well, I don't know.
It wasn't yours.
Details.
It wasn't yours.
No, what happened?
It wasn't yours.
There was a barrel up by a house, and I saw it, and I actually had the damn thing in my hand. I was going to yank it, and then I said, "You know what? I ain't lifting this barrel." And I told my kids, "Get this thing the hell out of my yard." Mm-hmm. They went behind the shed.
Right. And by the way, these are like literally 2 inches long.
Yeah.
These plants.
You weren't harvesting. It wasn't a grow operation, Dave.
I can't grow tomatoes. How am I going to grow that?
So
you know what I tell people now, and it's half joking, but it's half true. You think I'm dumb enough to try to grow weed locally and smoke it? You know what I mean? It would be like, if I'm going to get weed, I'm going to get the good stuff.
But the crazy part about that story,
you just got to drive to Illinois now.
The sheriff at the time flew a helicopter over your house,
taxpayer
which is ridiculous.
Funded,
I've never heard of that before.
Right.
You got charged.
Yeah.
The charges got dismissed. Yeah. And here you are.
By the way, he went through hell for a year. 41 newspaper articles.
41 newspaper
It was the
articles.
Biggest story going. I was involved in every one of those. They'd be like, confidant of Mayor McDermott, like...
Well, and then you had you were a federal employee at the time.
I was suspended for over a year without pay.
Really?
Over
Whoa.
it. Yeah.
Look at that. Think about that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheriff Dominguez.
And you were getting ready to retire right before then.
Yeah, I was. And another thing about it is I was also feuding with McTaverns because that's when, the shootings happened over there. And whatever the reason was for why the helicopter got flown over it, I mean...
We know why. It was because you were friends of mine and they wanted to screw you.
Yeah. But
that was it. He spent tens of thousands of taxpayer-funded dollars to fly a helicopter over your house for a reason. And they saw a couple little tiny pot plants and they took a picture, charged you and your family with basically felonies. And you
all 4 of it. They actually surrounded the house.
Right. And you had to dig yourself out of a lawsuit and a public nightmare for the year. Yeah. That's Sheriff Dominguez. That's the kind of actions he did as sheriff. By the way, something now that's completely legal. I mean, not in Indiana, but you could drive to Illinois and buy
15 states now, 18 states.
You could buy a freaking ounce of pot in Illinois legally now.
Still can't grow it though.
But a couple of years ago, Sheriff Dominguez wasted taxpayer money for political purposes.
I'm a big believer in that.
I'll pay the dollar.
Whoa, there it is. Number
Sheriff
one.
Dominguez was an asshole.
I know it's loaded with jokes.
That's 2.
Asshole for flying over Dave Woerpel's
That's
house.
3.
You can make all the jokes you want, but I mean, I've asked you a couple times. I want to sponsor. I think it's stupid that we're stuck between 2 states, actually 3 states when you count Ohio.
I think it's excellent.
No, but what I'm saying is, you can go from Ohio to Illinois, but if you're in Indiana with something that's legal in both them states, we're writing tickets or
That's right.
arresting
That's right.
people, and I wish the state of Indiana would just legalize it too.
They
They
should.
should
It's
get
going to
on
happen
board.
nationally before it
Yeah.
happens here.
You might be right about that.
I agree with you.
So
We should probably wrap up.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody for watching Left of Center.
Sorry for talking too much.
No, Dave. Thanks
having
for
you on, Dave.
Council President, Hammond City Council President Dave Woerpel, and soon-to-be author who's working on his
Yeah.
book right now. Thanks for coming by. It's great to see you. John Vesmar, great job on the video production today. Thank you. Featuring Lindsay McDermott. Great job, honey.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And Kevin Smith, always the best co-host in business. So
Thanks, Mayor.
thanks, everybody, for watching Left of Center. We'll be back on Friday. Thanks, everybody. Take care.